L&T Chairman S.N. Subramanian's recent video clip advising employees to log a staggering 90-hour week, while also questioning how long one could stare at a spouse.
Come on, get to the office and start working.
Triggered an uproar across social media and even added fuel to Narayana Murthy's earlier push for a 70-hour work week. His quip of making the employees work even on Sundays prompted a rush of responses. Business leaders like Anand Mahindra slammed the idea of measuring productivity purely by the hour, while others, like Radhika Gupta of Edelweiss Mutual Fund, discussed the value of hard work as a personal choice. Movie stars, too, joined the fray, with Deepika Padukone calling the comments shocking and underlining the importance of mental health. Meanwhile, CPIML MP Raja Ram Singh even sent a letter to the Labour Minister calling for penalties against employers who flout working hour regulations. And on social media, a wave of memes too flooded, triggering a burst of laughter and also an outcry. While much of the drama was centered on how India can bolster its growth, the pressing question remains, does working 90 hours, or even 70 for that matter, have any impact on a country's economic growth? We'll talk about it in detail, but before that, make sure to subscribe to Bizbo Business. The grind or the hustle culture is often glorified, but research shows long work hours may not lead to higher productivity. A 2014 study by an economics professor at Stanford University found that employee output decreased after a 50-hour work week, which plummeted even further after 55 hours. And someone who puts in 70 hours produces nothing more with those extra 15 hours. While it is debated that China had very high working hours and it led to a faster economic growth, what various analyses found out was shocking. China initially fueled growth through a 9-9-6 work culture. That is, 9 a.m. to 9 p.m., 6 days a week work culture, a policy common among many Chinese technology firms, but had to later rethink its approach due to burnout and legal pushbacks against overtime. And just like in India, one of China's richest men, Jack Ma, too tried endorsing this work culture, even to the extent of calling it a blessing, but received widespread flack. In fact, in 2021, the Supreme People's Court, China ruled it as illegal and even mandated compensation for employees forced to respond to work messages outside official hours. In developing countries like Bangladesh, a survey found that workers suffered from skin diseases, respiratory problems, eye problems, musculoskeletal disorders, and other health issues due to long hours and poor working conditions. Long hours can also prove fatal. For instance, in 2018, Che Su Hong, who worked at a food supplier, died at work due to excessive overworking. He was one of hundreds of people who died due to overwork. So, the government announced to reduce the maximum working hours from a staggering 68 per week to 40, with 12 hours of paid overtime. In India, many office workers already average around 50 to 55 hours a week. Yet in many instances, per-hour output lag behind that of other nations, where employees clock fewer hours but benefit from better training and cutting-edge technology. Countries like Luxembourg and Ireland post some of the world's highest productivity levels with standard or even reduced hour work weeks. Research consistently shows that efficiency and creativity can dip past a certain threshold, while mental strain and health problems surge. France even brought up the right to disconnect law in 2017, allowing employees to ignore work-related communications outside office hours. And Australia, too, introduced a law that allows employees to refuse to respond to job-related communications outside of their regular working hours. While both countries have mandatory 30-day paid vacations, many US and Canadian companies not only offer remote and flexi-work options, but are generous with parental leave to retain talent and ensure work-life balance. Nonetheless, according to data from the International Labour Organization, India is among the most overworked nations, with 51% of the Indian workforce logging over 49 hours weekly, the highest among 170 countries analyzed. Against this, the minimum monthly earnings of an Indian employee is at the lower end of the spectrum at $220. Over time, as developed economies upgraded machinery, invested in upskilling, They realized that better managed, better trained, and better rested employees delivered higher value output. India's path to faster growth may lie in learning from those models, focusing on skill enhancement, workplace flexibility, and technology integration, rather than simply urging an already strained workforce to stay glued to their desks all weekend. Subramanian, for his part, is already at the center of a national debate, with L&T issuing a clarification that it remains committed to nation building. But the statement only brought more criticism, particularly among those who argue that building a robust nation goes hand in hand with building robust lives. While the memes continue to pour in behind the jokes and barbs, many see a real opportunity to talk about how India can bridge its productivity gaps and create working environments where both enterprise and individuals thrive. And amongst them, Bajaj Auto MD Rajiv Bajaj's remark echoed the sentiments of many. As he said, let the 90-hour work week start from the top. If it works over 2 to 3 years, implement it across the board. While highlighting that, when all the big talk happens at the top, but the implementation starts from the bottom, it's not fair. What do you think about it?